Welcome to iRise Conversations with Joan. Welcome to iRise Conversations with Joan. My name is Joan Nwosu, and I'm the award-winning author of the book, iRise, The 10 Secrets to Getting Up When Life Knocks You Down. We're all familiar with modern medicine as healing for the body. Some of us are aware of the healing power of plants, but do you know that there are many alternative ways to heal and evolve the mind, body, and spirit? Healing that can help you thrive in every area of your life. These days, there are healing sessions, retreats, spiritual programs, and they're becoming more and more popular as their success has transformed many, many lives, a lot of famous people that we know. So today we want to explore how this sort of healing might benefit not just you, but the society that we live in. Our guest today is Michael Thornhill. He is co-founder of Casa Galactica in Peru. He is a traditionally trained plant spirit healer, a professional channel, and an advocate of trauma-informed care who has dedicated his life to helping others heal themselves and evolve. Casa Galactica offers ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats. They also offer online private sessions and group programs for dedicated inner truth seekers and multidimensional healers. Michael experienced ritual abuse as a child, and ayahuasca was a major part of his healing and recovery process. He loves to meditate and practice Qigong. He channels multidimensional beings and plant spirits to help catalyze your healing process and also teaches you how to heal yourself. Casa Galactica is all about helping you empower your healing, activating your intuition, and embodying your truth. Welcome, Michael, to the show.
Thanks so much, Joan. An absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Okay, so just a warning to my guests today, we're going to be going a bit woo-woo, but just have an open mind, because I think the topic of today is something that is very key and not something that a lot of people talk about or are too comfortable to talk about based on the world that we live in. So Michael, tell us a little bit about your life and your experience and how you got on this journey to becoming a spiritual healer.
Absolutely. So, I'm co-founder of Casa Galactica here in Peru. I'm not sure if you can see with the sun behind me at the minute, but there's some mountains. That's the Andean Mountains behind. You can't get it so much because this time of the day, the sun's there. But I live in a beautiful place called Pisac in the Sacred Valley of Peru with my wife and fellow co-founder of Casa Galactica. And together we hold ayahuasca ceremonies and a lot of other alternative healing modalities here in person. We also do a lot of work online with people to help people heal and evolve. And really, I've stepped into this path because of my own need to heal and evolve. And I didn't recognize that was a need at that period of time. But I can understand that the path that I've been on, I was very heavily addicted to drugs and different substances. And I was what you would probably call a successful addict or a functioning addict, a high performance addict, where on some level, that kind of addiction to work and success is rewarded in society if you're very ready to work hard and you're ready to, I would say, sacrifice yourself for the company. Then you can be what might we say financially rewarded, and then there's also kind of like the accolades, the things that come along with that. And then I was earning enough money that also would then fuel my drug habit and alcohol habit. So this was great for a period of time, or at least it felt great, and didn't really seem anything wrong because on the outside, my life was all together. I was successful. I had a chemistry degree. I was working at a good company. I eventually had my own company. But really, underneath all of that, there was a deep level of anxiety and depression, and even towards suicidal ideation as well, which I wouldn't really fully recognize, but I think it was more of a deep, deep depression. And I came to find ayahuasca, plant medicine, which we work with, because I heard about how it can help people with addictions. And after my mother died about 5 or 6 years ago, I decided that I wanted to look more into myself, recognize that the addictions that I had, if I carried on, I wouldn't really be living that long of a life. And after seeing death up close and personal, it was really a spiritual catalyst for me to start making some changes. First started with meditation, and then working with a Reiki and sound healer. And this led me into ayahuasca. And ayahuasca completely transformed and changed my life. In the first ayahuasca retreat, I was able to let go of drinking, drugs, smoking, addictions in a way that I'd never been able to do. I tried multiple times before. Mm-hmm. I've not done hard drugs since that ceremony, which I was heavily addicted to cocaine, ketamine, and MDMA to a certain extent. And I've never done that again since. I did have different kind of going deeper into revisiting alcohol and smoking, but never at the level or capacity that was before. But it was an opportunity for me to continue the healing process. But it was amazing for me. I just stopped straight away after this one weekend. And it's been something that I've been trying subconsciously, or not necessarily actively, but it's been consciously there about trying to stop that. So I went on this whole healing journey after that, which led me to India, to Nepal, learning about Reiki and yoga and integrating my awakening in that sense. And I found myself here in Peru because I wanted to study more with ayahuasca. So ayahuasca here in Peru is 100% legal. It's a sacred plant medicine that can help people heal and evolve. It can help people heal past trauma, abuse, addiction, PTSD, and help create a life for people that's more in alignment, or help people find the truth of who they are. And that's really what we do at Casa Galactica. We hold safe, trauma-informed spaces for people to heal. Mm-hmm. I myself, at the heart of those addictions, was unresolved trauma, PTSD, sexual abuse, ritual abuse that I was completely unaware of. I was completely unaware of why I couldn't stay sober. But going through this healing and awakening journey, working with plant medicines, I've been able to heal bit by bit, those deeper parts of myself, and then find a truer sense of peace, happiness, and freedom, which now enables me to have this time and space and energy to help others heal and evolve.
Wow, that is a phenomenal story, because when people hear of addiction, I like the way you said you were a high performing addict, because some people might be thinking, oh no, I just take a vacation, I'm still good, I'm not on the streets, I'm not begging and crawling and trying to kill myself if I'm not able to get the drugs. But you're saying that addiction is addiction. Sometimes you're not even aware of how the impact that these substances, whatever it might be, has on your life. And you were able to heal from that in one weekend. Like, I've heard about people going to rehab and going back, and they keep going back and still not getting the healing. But in just one weekend, you were able to heal from that addiction, and you haven't gone back since. I think that's phenomenal. So I know we're talking about ayahuasca and it being a plant-based healing treatment or session. What does that look like? Because I'm thinking some people saying, why can't I just buy it? If it's plant, just send it to me and I'll just make it into a salad and I'll just eat it. What does this ritual or this treatment look like?
Absolutely. So for us, the way that we work with people currently is in our 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats. So throughout that 10 days, we have 4 ayahuasca ceremonies. But the whole process is a big preparation and integration on the other side of this, plus alternative integration techniques, alternative healing modalities, other integrative plant medicines, workshops, which really creates a whole field for transformation. And these plant medicines, such as ayahuasca, are a big, big catalyst in that, seeing the unconscious, healing the unconscious, seeing different perspectives and points of view, which ultimately left me from living a life where I was living in Europe, running my own company in the rat race, to going on a spiritual awakening, healing over the last 6 years or so, the depths of these addictions, what's underneath those addictions, and then meeting my wife and then starting another company in absolute alignment with our truth, being able to share this, have a conversation with people like yourself, and be able to help people heal. So ayahuasca is a sacred plant medicine that originates in the rainforest and the jungle, in other parts of the world as well, but specifically here in Peru, where in the Peruvian Amazon. So ayahuasca here is 100% legal, which is one of the reasons why we are here in Peru. So the first thing is, if you're wanting to find ayahuasca in your home country, you may be breaking the law. So I'm not here to judge whether you would do that or not. I'm just here to say that when you come here and work with us, ayahuasca in Peru is part of the national heritage because it's a sacred plant here.
Okay.
It's actually an ayahuasca vine and a chacruna plant. So the kind of illegality of these plant medicines kind of goes back to the war on drugs and the kind of archaic systems which are beginning to unravel. So this is why you may find yourself in trouble in some of the Western countries if you find this. Now, the second thing is when you're working with this plant medicine, we do this ceremonially. So this means shamanically that the space is safe. In other words, energetically, the space is safe. But then we also work within trauma-informed care, which enables us to create an optimum environment for you to heal and evolve, which takes into account you may have repressed, unacknowledged trauma or events within your life that may arise in those ceremonies, which in our experience, if not handled properly by trauma-informed healers like ourselves, like my wife, Jamie, and I, it can cause re-traumatization. It can mean that you can go back to events in your life which are perhaps scary or traumatic, and then you may then have another experience of facing that alone. When you're able to do that in a safe space with professionals who care and hold this space for you, we're able to unravel whatever may have happened to you, change the story, reframe that experience so that you no longer need to hold that somatically within your body and your being. In other words, you can free yourself from the trauma of your past, which no longer needs to define you. P.S. It never really defined you, but it's that part of you that has been still living in the past is able to be freed so that energy can come back to the present so that you can create, that you can express, you can love, you can be joyful. So really, it's about creating a safe, optimum space for you to heal and evolve. Now, I mentioned earlier about holding the space shamanically. So we've trained in the Amazon rainforest. We've lived and worked in the Amazon rainforest for many years. And through that process of learning to hold a space, we work multidimensionally, which means that we work singing icaros, which are healing songs, which communicate with the plants, which communicate with the spirits, which is what creates that safe space. So to ground that back down, really what that means is that we're working here for you, holding that space. We're creating a container. We can create in a safe environment for you to heal and evolve. Imagine if it's like a concert hall, if you will. In that concert hall, we're kind of bringing in the spirits, the energies, the plants that work with you to help you heal. So we're here tirelessly working for you in that space to create somewhere safe, integrous, and the optimum environment for you to heal. And then to also help you unpack those mysterious experiences, to help you make sense of that and transform plant medicine experiences into lifelong transformation. Like I had for myself, this life transformation. It wasn't about me going to the ayahuasca ceremony. It was about what that enabled me to embody in my daily life. And I think that's what's really important for this, is what the part we do here, and you mentioned before, is helping people embody their truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so two questions about that now. Does everybody have trauma? Because a lot of people, myself included, for a long time, I was in denial. I thought, I'm good. Yeah, my life's good. I'm happy. Or so I thought. Does everybody have trauma? And is this beneficial to every single person?
I think everything is relative.
Mm-hmm.
The level of trauma is relative, and it works in a multitude of different ways. So, for instance, I myself didn't know I had trauma. I knew that my mother was ill. I knew my parents were divorced, but I wouldn't describe it as trauma. I definitely didn't know that I'd been abused. I definitely didn't understand what was beneath the symptoms of anxiety, of depression, of not feeling fulfilled. I didn't know what it was. So the first thing I would say is, if there's things in your life which you're not able to understand why perhaps you feel sad, alone, you're not necessarily feeling joyful, it doesn't mean that you experience trauma, but I think it's more than likely that there's something underneath that, because that's not your natural state of being. There may be something there repressed that is wanting to come to the surface. Now, trauma doesn't need to be abuse or violent abuse or things like this. It can be something like being bit by a dog. It can be very traumatic. It can be being bullied at school. It can be not being picked up enough as a baby when you were hungry and you were crying. So it can be very relative to everyone. So, for instance, to that person who wasn't picked up enough by their mother or father in the cot, they feel that aloneness that is very deep, that they find it in every relationship. They're clinging to that person because please don't leave me alone. Just like it replicates, I don't want to be left alone in the cot crying. So that might not seem like a big trauma, yet it might have been so far the defining point of every relationship that you've had because you're too afraid to be independent within that relationship. Because at every point you're clinging, because please don't let this love go away from me. I don't know if anyone's going to come back. So where do we begin to dissect this? Now, for me, if I want to describe trauma, for me, I would say that the original trauma is incarnating on Earth and believing that we're actually separate from one consciousness. Because we live these lives feeling like we're separate from everything. In that in itself, is that not traumatic? Is that not something that causes dissociation in our life? Does that not cause us to act and behave in different ways when we become identified with the illusion of separation? So it depends how far back you want to go with that. For us here as a multidimensional center for healing and evolution, we meet you where you're at. So whether it is the death of a loved one or going back to inner child healing or multidimensional healing through past lifetimes and coming back to the recognition of yourself as an infinite being, whichever place you wish to meet us, wherever you're at that journey, we will help you to heal and evolve.
Wow. I love your explanation of trauma because sometimes we think it's things that we have to remember or really, really traumatizing experiences. But like you're saying, it could have happened when you were a baby. And imagine that controlling your life. And like you said, it's not really controlling. You're the one who's allowing it to control you because most times you're not even aware. So just having that ability to heal from that and no longer be a victim of your past or allowing your past to dictate how your future pans out. I think that is something that could be beneficial to everyone. So you talked about coming back to your alignment or coming home to who you really are. What exactly does that mean for people who are not so spiritual or may not understand what do you mean? I'm me, come back to who? Who's that person? What are you talking about?
So we'll meet this at very different dissections to kind of illustrate my previous point with regards to meeting you where you are. So for me, within my story, coming back to the truth of who I am was that step of that recognition of I'm not going to drink alcohol, I'm not going to do drugs. Then it was the recognition that, and this was through the ayahuasca ceremonies, the recognition was that the life that I was living was actually the beliefs of my parents. It was the beliefs of the institutions. It was the beliefs of the CEOs of the company. And it was the beliefs of society that I was trying to live up to try and fill the void of love, which I didn't get from my parents, so that if I did something good, someone would think that I was finally a good person, that someone would actually recognize me or validate me. So all of these different belief structures that I was trying to live up to, trying to make money, trying to be successful, trying to impress my bosses, trying to impress my parents, society, peers, all those things. What I was actually doing was I was stepping away from the truth of who I am because that's not really what I wanted to do. Which is why even though when I made more and more money, the depression didn't go away. Eventually, when I had my own company and I had all these things that I thought, and I was told, once you have this, once you have the freedom, once you have your own hours, once you do all this, it's going to be fine. You get there and you're like, and I'm sitting at the top of this imaginary mountain and I'm still sad. What's going on? It was in that ayahuasca ceremony that I was able to see that that wasn't my truth. So I was able to let go of something that was untrue for me. And if you let go of something that's untrue for you, naturally what it reveals is something that's more true. Mm-hmm. So that coming home to the truth of who we are is a releasing of the layers of the onion of who we are not. And naturally under that, within that place, it reveals to us more of the truth of who we are. Yet, fortunately or unfortunately, however you wish to look at this, it doesn't feel like the truth of who we are as a destination. It's a continuous recognition of more of the truth of who we are. If the truth is infinite, how can we understand it in totality? So it's not necessarily a destination. It's a continued evolution. So the coming home to the truth of who you are might look like it, as it has for me, of stopping drugs and then leaving the company and the profession that I was living in. Then ultimately, it was them recognizing that I'm not actually my thoughts. I'm not actually my mind. Then it's the recognition of, oh, these traditions and other trainings that I've worked in and that I've worked in the Amazon rainforest, this is not actually who I am either. This is me trying to fit into another identity within this spiritual path. I let go of that. And then we find ourselves with our own business. And this has been part of the process of recognizing the ways that we've been taught by other teachers, the ways that we've acted in the past. That's no longer who we are. The way that I show up in my marriage, the way that I talk, or the way that I'm triggered or react and respond, that's no longer who truly I am. Then it goes on and it goes on. But what do we need to do to find out or let go of the things that we are not? Ultimately, for us, or our understanding, my understanding is that when we see an unconscious aspect of ourselves, in other words, when we see something that is not true, we can no longer see it as true. Now, I'm just going to say this because I don't think there's any kids listening, but it's the same thing as if we have Santa Claus. When we recognize that Santa Claus is not real, then we're having that situation. Once you see through that, it's like Christmas is never the same. It evolves, it changes, but Christmas is never the same. Yeah. It's like, oh, I can't live in that lie anymore. So when we see that lie about ourselves or the false identity, we have a choice. Do I want to live in that false identity, or do I want to let that go and allow something more true to come through? So the recognition of the truth of who we are ultimately begins with the recognition of who we are not, and then choosing to let that go. That's what we're here to help you do. It sounds complicated. It sounds like a journey with the plants, spirit, the work that we do on the front end, on the back end, with our online work, everything. It's really about helping you create the life that you prefer. Because here's the caveat. Here's the thing that you will enjoy, that we can't truly let go of something that we no longer really want. From our human self, we might experience that as something, oh, I really wanted that. I really wanted that relationship, or I really wanted that job. How many of us have had that experience that when, even though it's so painful letting go of that relationship or that job, 6 months or 6 years down the line, we find ourselves in something more aligned. And then we can look back and say, if I'd held on to that thing that wasn't really me, then I wouldn't have been able to embody what I'm really experiencing now. So the plant medicines really speed that process up 5, 10, 15 years and enable you to move through that process incredibly rapidly, incredibly quickly, and then find yourself on a trajectory that's much more aligned. And it's not us that's telling you this. It's not the plants what's telling you this. It's about us reflecting back to you the truth of who you are so that you can see it and then you can choose it.
Well, you did say it does sound complicated, but it's not. And I think everyone deep down inside, we all know when we're not okay. We all know when we're not living the life that we truly want to live. We have that discomfort within us, but we don't know where to turn. Society has been dictating what and how we should show up. So you just keep going. Everybody around you is doing it. So it's like, just suck it up and keep going. But what I'm hearing you say today is that there is an alternative. You can choose to live a life that's more aligned with who you truly are. And by doing that, you peel off the layers of what you're not to discover what you truly are. And I think that's phenomenal. And I think it's a journey that everybody should definitely go on, especially if you're not enjoying the life that you're living today. Or like you were saying, Michael, you've achieved so much financially or societally, and you're still feeling empty. You're still like, is this it? What's next? So you keep chasing after these things that society has deemed, oh, this is what makes you successful. But at the end of the day, you're still feeling left empty. This might be the path or the journey that you need to get on. You need to explore, maybe, who am I? What path am I really supposed to be on, and align with that? And it all starts with you going through the healing. Because I think a lot of us don't look at the healing aspect. It's like, oh, I'll just go learn something new. Maybe sometimes it's just the unlearning that you need to do. You need to separate yourself from some of those beliefs and conditioning that has held us back for so long. So tell us, so I know you mentioned now that you have your Ayahuasca retreat. I think you said it's for 10 days. Are there other programs that are shorter? Do people have to fly all the way to Peru? Or how else can you help people?
Absolutely, yes. So the programs that we offer currently, our most effective programs, are our 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats. We do also do private ceremonies for people who find themselves in the area. But yes, ayahuasca, our ayahuasca work is in person in Peru. So if you want to work with us, and what we would say is our most catalytic program, our 10-day ayahuasca healing and evolution retreats, which you can find at our website, casagalactica.com, has all the details of that. And yes, you have to fly to the Andean mountains here in Peru, and we take care of you through every step of that way. We make that transition, that process. We have such a preparation, so much contact time with you, explaining the whole process, the journey, coming to Peru, what to expect, all of this, so you have all that information up front. We also give people free 30-minute consultations. So if anything that interests you, anything that we're sharing here, go to our website, just go to the bottom of the page, the footer, book a 30-minute free consultation. We can talk more about that personal experience for you. But ayahuasca is just one part of the work that we do. We do online work with people. I do online trauma healing sessions, multidimensional healing sessions, channeling and intuitive sessions. My wife's an incredible intuitive medium as well. And then we also do intuitive design and branding through my wife, Jamie, where she helps people discover and cultivate your calling, discover your calling, and then package that into business design and branding, because she's an amazing designer as well. So one of that parts of when we come through that process of letting go, once we've done enough of that work, or we go through that process of letting go of who we're not, there's that kind of, if you think of that also of like the weeding of the garden or the weeding of the field, then after a while, after you've done that work, it's time to plant new seeds. So we also help people through that process of creating life within alignment. And that's a process that takes form and shape into the space, into the vacancy of all those layers that no longer serve you, which you've left behind. So we love to work with people in online sessions. Sometimes we just work with people online and have absolutely incredible results and stories and testimonials, which you can see. You don't need to take my word from it, but we just love to work with people. So wherever you're at, whether you're at home or whether you're ready to come and have an adventure and journey into the innermost depths of the truth of who you are, we welcome you to connect with us.
I think that's an amazing journey that everybody needs to go through. And so, like you said, for people who might be thinking, okay, Peru is just too far, I can't go 10 days. It's 10 full days, not I work in the morning and do the sessions at night. It's 10 full days. Maybe they can start off with some online programs. Mm-hmm. So that's great. How often do you run this 10-day workshops or healing sessions, retreats?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Joan, just in addition to what you said, a lot of people who kind of just come into connection with us who are interested in ayahuasca, they're not really sure about that. A lot of people do begin to work with us online. And then once they've worked online with us, they get to know us a little bit more and we go through that process. Then we also work with people who start that healing and evolution journey at home, start going through that process. And then perhaps after a few sessions or a month or so, say often, okay, now we're ready to come down to Peru. Now we're ready to do this. And then on the backside of that as well, once that healing, once that integration process starts, we're also there on the back end as well to work with people for as long as necessary to continue that process of integration. Because when you go back home, when you start making those life changes, having that support around with people who are able to help guide you through that process of creating something that's in more alignment with you, that's invaluable to have that support on the other end.
Wow, this is a total life transformation. It doesn't just end with the retreat. It goes on and on. It's the rest of your life, I'm guessing, where you need that support to make sure that you stay in alignment and you have the support that you need, because sometimes not having naysayers or people who don't believe might just cause you to, retreat. So that's great. But I really so how often do you run your sessions? Because,
Yes.
like for some people, they might think, okay, maybe I might want to go once next year or in 2 years. Is it every month, every other month?
Yeah, we have them pretty much every month. Okay. We have the next retreat is so we have, when it depends when this goes out, we have September, October, November this year, and then we have December. We're doing a private retreat for someone. We're doing private work with people, and then we have January, February, and March. Those are the dates that we currently have out. We will release more dates for next year in a few months. But For now, these are the retreats that we have available. So our retreats are just for 4 people. So we have work for just 4 people.
Wow.
So people come and have a very deep intimate, personalized experience with lots of one-on-one care attention, trauma-informed care, hand holding and guiding throughout that process, so that you're able really to make that deep life transformation. We're in, I would say, the field of helping and assisting people transform lives. We're not a tourist company. We're not necessarily an experience. You probably already recognize that by the work we've said. You probably have an easier time on a holiday. So although it's very beautiful and the connection and the experience is what you can have, a very life transformative, having a deeper connection to one consciousness, to your own spirit guides, your higher self, the truth, unconditional love, the universe, creation, all of that can also be experienced. But that's part of that transformation once you make space for that recognition to arise. So yeah, we have monthly programs. We have a few spots left for this year. So if you are interested in that, please reach out and we would be happy to tell you more about how that can fit your own personal set of circumstances, because everyone's different. Everyone has a personal set of circumstances. So what I recommend any of you who are out there listening and thinking that maybe work with Casa Galactica or Michael and Jamie could be useful, invite you to think about what's your intention. What are you wanting to shift and change? How are you wanting to live your life? If you could live without limitation, what would it look like? And then we can meet you there and help you manifest that intention through a variety of different programs.
Wow. Phenomenal stuff. I really want to encourage everyone, at least go ahead and book the free 30-minute session to see how Michael and Jamie might be able to help you really get on this phenomenal journey that we're talking about. This is what life is supposed to be. Life is supposed to be beautiful, not a struggle. You're supposed to be in alignment. You're supposed to have access to all your spirit guides, have all the help that you need and the support from the universe to thrive and really have all the love, the unconditional love, and just be joyful every day of your life. So I think this is something that everyone needs to take seriously. This is the rest of your life. This is the transformation. So we've been talking about individual healing now and people getting healed, going for retreats and all of that. Why is this important for the society at large, the world that we're heading into?
Well, I think if you just have a look out the window and check the news, and if this is the world that you want to be living in, then ignore everything we've said and stay where you are. So, yeah, what we find here is that we're going through this great shift on Earth. So just joking there for a moment. We're going through this great shift on Earth, and what we're actually finding is that as we're individually shifting, we collectively shift. And as we collectively shift, we individually shift. So the question is here, would you like to be the individual who's shifting, that's influencing the collective? Or would you like to be the part which is then shifted from the collective shift? Now, ultimately, it's simultaneous. But with that mind frame and that mindset, if you're willing to step outside of your current existing limiting beliefs, so whatever your environment is, whatever your life is like, the invitation is there something that I'm not aware of? Am I willing to bring that into my awareness to help improve my life, that of my community and those around me? And then inviting that in, and the personal shift that you undergo will have a ripple effect outwards and begin to change your physical reality. So a lot of us feel victimized or helpless in different situations because, let's face it, the world can be a very challenging place to live in. Yet we often feel like we have the weight of shifting the whole of society on our shoulders, or creating a society that's going to be something that's more in alignment with us. What I can guarantee you is that if you begin to shift your own personal circumstance situation, i.e. begin to heal trauma, look into the limiting beliefs, the unconscious blind spots that you have in your own life, then naturally over time, your physical environment will shift and change. So it's that chicken and egg scenario. Did I change first, or did the world change first? So just invite you to ponder on that and recognize that you are empowered to make shift and change. Every vibration that you put out and begin to change, you're completely empowered to create that shift and change. It might not look so quick, just like if you're watching a David Attenborough documentary and you look at the leaves and they're not moving, and then they do that fast forward at night and you can see everything comes out and moves. Those little shifts, those little ripples that you do just by holding the door open for someone in the store, just by forgiving someone, just for calling a friend that you've not reached out to for a period of time. that creates the vibration of the reality that you prefer and enables you to shift and transform into that. Please do not underestimate the power of your own consciousness and how you can create your own reality in that sense.
Wow. Do you want to be part of the solution, or do you want the solution to change you? I love that. And I think that is something that everybody needs to ponder on, because like you said, I feel that way too, that the weight of changing the society just sits on my shoulder. But sometimes all you need to do is do the shift within yourself, and your physical environment will start to shift. Things around you will start to shift as well. It might not happen today, overnight, or even in a year, but the shift is happening. The vibrations are changing around you and around the world. I think that's phenomenal. I think people should go on this journey. I think it's, like we've said enough, it's really a personal journey. I think everybody's situation is different, but we all need to be honest with ourselves. We all need to be clear on what we want. What do you want for your life? What do you want for the world? And start to make those shifts within yourself. So Michael, for people who are thinking, okay, this is too much, I have nothing to heal from, or maybe I have very little to heal from, is there something that you can give my listeners today to get them started on their healing journey at home today?
Absolutely. So firstly, ayahuasca is not for everyone. So if you're just feeling like this is not for you, do not worry about that. There are many paths that lead you home. So find whatever that may be for you. Perhaps it's yoga, meditation, walks in nature, or different groups meeting, AA, whatever it may be. Or maybe it's just spending time with your family and creating a safe and home environment, whatever it may be. Just trust whatever that path is for you. Yet if the path that we've shared about, some of what we've shared about here today, you're feeling aligned with, go to our website and check out, so that's casagalactica.com, and just invite you to join our mailing list, because if you do that, you'll get a 5-hour fundamentals of healing trauma workshop that's completely free, which I did as part of my online healing and evolution workshop series. So there's a free 5-hour workshop that you can just get straight into your inbox, and you can start implementing that, creating change in your own life. Plus, you'll get a beginner's guidebook to strengthening your intuition written by my wife, Jamie, which will help you to recognize your already innate and active intuition and begin to implement that in your own life, so that you can begin to become more aware of your own innate intuition. We're all intuitive. Plus, we'll also give you 20% off, free 20% off your first online session with us. So I'd invite you to go there, check out our website, check out our growth portal. We have lots of conversations, interviews like this, and begin to explore more about the opportunities that you have to begin to make change and transformation here in your own life, right here and now. I would also recommend that wherever you are, whatever your circumstance, look to where you can find help to make a transition into something that's more in alignment. There are plenty of free resources available, similar to some of the things that we've just shared about here, but look to your own community about where you can begin to affect that change, where you can begin to show up at the vibration that you really want to see. And then together we can help change the world in that way through looking within to our own selves.
Yes. We can change the world by looking into ourselves. Amazing. So again, it's casagalactica.com. Go ahead, sign up for the newsletter and get the 5-hour free resource to get you on your healing journey. We all need transformation. And I think, like Michael said, if this is not for you, there's so much else out there. But please get on that journey. Get into alignment with what your true life, what your true self is, and the life that you're meant to be living. And you'll be glad that you did. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here with us today. It was super amazing. So many words of wisdom, so many things to get people thinking about their lives and this spiritual journey that we need to go on, and some of the healing and the trauma that we may be aware of or not even be aware of that we might need to heal from. So any final words from you before we go?
No, I just really appreciate it. Appreciate being on here. Thank you, Joan, for being so professional and a wonderful host and inviting me into this space. And just want to send a lot of gratitude out to all you listeners, and just wishing you all a wonderful day or evening, and just trust that everything you need, all the answers you seek, look within and you shall find them.
Look within. I love, that's one of my favorites. Look within. All the answers are within. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here with us. And thank you to my amazing listeners for listening. I hope that you really did get a lot of benefit from today's show. This is a journey that we all need to go on to get that transformation and live the best life that we can. Thank you for listening. I will see you same time next week on iRise Conversations with Joan.